It is officially that time, baby. And as every single Thursday, when you hear that music, you know what time it is. It means that you're in the locker room show, and it means we got another amazing episode for you. So I'm excited, you guys. I'm almost giddy for tonight's show because every single time we bring in somebody with some knowledge, with some information, with some game. But tonight we've got somebody that's got a whole nother level of expertise, a whole nother level of notches on his belt, so to speak. So I'm excited about tonight's show, but we're going to introduce the gentleman that comes in every single night with me on Thursday, the one that holds me down every single week. That's none other than the great Q, the Guru. What's going on, Guru?
What's going on, Coach? We got another great show, man. Glad to have Coach on, so we're going to get this here going in a sec.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So, hey, we're not going to waste your time, you guys. We got somebody that you see right now in the middle of the screen, and really the track record speaks for itself. If you've been in the football industry, especially if you've been around Bay Area football, this man needs no introduction. He's won multiple world championships, you guys, in the Arena Football League. He's been on the coaching side, the commentating side. When you speak arena football, you can't say anything about the league without talking about this gentleman. He's mentored, he's coached some of the top talent around the country, guys that have played big-time college football, guys that have played in the NFL. And like I said, he's got a recipe, you guys. He's got a recipe for getting the best out of people and for winning. So I am extremely excited to have the great Coach Darren Arbet on tonight. How's it going, Coach?
It's going great. Thanks for having me.
Definitely. Yeah, man. We've been waiting to have you on, Coach, and I had to pull you away from the golfing. I got to get you away from the golfing. But no, we're excited to have you, and we appreciate your time.
Definitely.
I'm looking forward to it, just hanging out with you two and talking football.
Yes, indeed. So let's get into it. We're talking football, and like I said, this is an arena football legend. A matter of fact, when the Arena Football League was at its peak, he was basically writing the blueprint on how to make it happen. They had private jets. They had guys coming wanting to play from him from the NFL. He is a Hall of Famer, you guys, in the Arena Football League. And like I said, multiple championships, Coach. So I want to start off, and all of our topics are on the bottom ticker if you're joining us for the first time. But I want to start off, Coach, with because I know your son, Kevin, played too. What does football represent for the Arbet family? What does it mean to you?
Kevin was my nephew, and my son was Lamar. He played at San Jose State, and Kevin played at USC. But when you were born into the family, you played football. My brothers were football players. We started at an early age playing with the adults, and we had to be physical at a young age, and they taught us a lot of toughness.
Wow, Coach. And obviously the game has done you well. You decided to get into coaching, and that takes a lot out of you. When did you decide that was the route that you wanted to go?
I was at Sac State. I got hurt playing arena football, and my coach, Rick Plumtree, a coach had left, and he asked me to go to meet him at Denny's at the Amigo Room. That's where the coaches went and drank at night. It was Denny's at the Amigo Room over there by Sac State. So I met him there, and he said, "Hey, we're looking for a coach." And I said, "I can help you." And I said, "I don't want to do it." He said, "I'm not asking you. I'm telling you you're going to do it." So I kind of got roped into that. And first year, it was okay. I just never wanted to quit anything, and I've been doing it ever since.
Yeah.
Wow. So that coach deserves some kudos for or maybe a championship ring for keeping you in the game. So
I gave him my fourth championship ring.
Oh wow!
Man, that's what's up.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, that's cool.
Well, when you got enough to give away,
You
things
ain't lying. He got a box full.
are good. So I
Yeah.
appreciate you sharing the story, Coach. One of the things, Coach, that is so big in football, obviously at all levels, but you were at the highest level. I mean, right under the NFL, you guys were dealing with all kind of NFL talent when the AFL was at its peak. So scouting and talent evaluation was so huge for you guys. I wanted to ask you, is scouting in your eyes, in your opinion, Coach, is that more an art or is that more of a science?
It's some street smarts. It's relationships. I went and did a internship with the Pittsburgh Steelers in scouting, and I learned so much that year. And I got a lot of friends in the business that could point me to players, and they knew what I wanted and they knew how I was. And they taught me, just because a guy has 12 interceptions, that doesn't mean he's your best DB. 4 of them could be on overthrows. The other 3 could be the D line was coming at the quarterback and he threw it up. Sometimes I went after guys that just had 2 or 3 sacks because they were driving on balls, and those were their interceptions. I'm sorry, I went 2 or 3 interceptions, and I went with those guys because they were driving on balls. They covered their guy. A lot of times we look at stats and we want to sign players, and that's something I kind of stayed away from.
Wow, that's big right there, Coach. So right here, you're talking about somebody that's putting in the work. Q, talk to me, man. I mean, if you were coaching right now at UT, Tennessee, or Texas, and you had your pick of the litter, whoever you wanted, do you think that the top recruiters right now are guys that just have intuitions, or are they using data and science?
I think that, too many of them are using data, because I say this all the time. It's a lot of kids now, even coming out of high school, that a lot of them are 4 or 5-star rated kids. And they get into camp, and you really, as a coach, get to see what you have, and they're amongst with quote unquote 2 or 3-star kids getting eaten alive. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, we saw that a lot. In the Arena League. I mean, you'd have guys that that were legit, like Cleve. He was from out of Florida State. That was a legitimate dog. But there's my man. There's my guy. But you'd have people like out of smaller schools, some that you've never heard of, man, that were just absolute monsters, man, just off of just in regards to production, man. So I mean, it's definitely you need to go off of street smarts, man, and more and less less stats, like Coach said. That's where you get into trouble.
Coach, let me ask you this. When you get maybe a young guy in camp, back when you guys were in the thick of it, and maybe he had some good college film, how do you determine if you need to just kick the rocks on a kid and let him go, or if he just needs more time?
That old saying, and it's not a cliche, the cream rises to the top. And like Q was saying, you put Clee on him, and Clee's going to let you know, hey, Coach, he can go.
Yeah.
I think that's Rashid Davis right there.
Rashid, that's she. Yep.
Got from San Jose State.
Yep.
Coach Church and Coach Malley, and he came over and he played defense as well as offense for us, and he ended up starting in the Super Bowl at the slot receiver, and he returned some until Devin Hester got there.
Yeah.
But he was another guy that came. He worked hard every day, ran great routes, great speed, worked on his hands. His hands became good, and he just loved to go out on the field and run routes.
Yeah.
Great example right there, Coach. And you guys have to understand you're going to get evaluated by people like Coach Arbet. And sometimes it's just a hair fraction on who gets that job, So scouting is huge, and Coach is one of the best at evaluating talent. Appreciate that, Coach. During your heyday, I mean, you said you're giving away rings, so obviously things are going good. And we've all been around football so long, coaches, especially yourself in the Bay Area. You've been around some of the best coaches in the game, legendary coaches. And every time you see a winning organization or you see a winning college program, it's not too hard to find that there's great quarterbacks, Coach. And even with the Chiefs run that they're going on right now, they have Mahomes. And through all those years, you had a constant at quarterback with Mark Grieb. And I just wanted to ask you, Coach, just in your honest opinion, just thinking back, when you think back to all those championships, all of that success, I think like 185 wins and 60 losses or something. What percentage of that would you attribute to Mark being so great and being so much of a constant for you guys?
He really was. Mark was family, and Mark was going to play for the SaberCats just like I never left. Mark played there once. He played the 1 year in Anaheim when I wasn't the coach, and then when I took over, we got Mark Grieb, and he was with the SaberCats ever since. Interesting story, coaches would say, "Hey, Coach, I'm going to call Mark Grieb on other teams and say, hey, I'm going to get him to come play for me this year." Great. And they call me and go, "You know what, Coach? It's unbelievable how those kids are loyal to you." He says, "Hey, I don't care what you put on that piece of paper. I'm going to be a SaberCat." And that's the way most of them were. They wanted to play together. Q, those guys.
Yeah, man. But see, Coach, what you failed to mention too, it was the fans, it was the community too. It was like a cult out there, man. It really was. It was like, and it developed over time into, it was the SaberCats or nothing. Like that was the marquee team to play for. I mean, that's great, man. No diss to the Avengers or the Rush. The Rattlers obviously, had some nice runs out there, but it was like, man, in most cases, man, it was San Jose or nothing, man. And that's why everybody wanted to come out there and play for Coach, flat out. Everybody wants to be part of a winner, man. And it was this proof year after year.
Yeah, it was just the culture. I remember we were playing a game to go to the bowl, and the quarterback was taking a knee, and I went out there and I was giving the official a bad time about, no, the ball is supposed to be here. And Big George Williams, we got him from the New York Giants. He looked at me and he said, "Coach, I don't care where they put that ball, they ain't getting in the end zone. So don't worry about it." and it was in his eyes, man. He just said, "Hey, they ain't getting in the end zone, Coach." So, and they felt that way. They were all brothers. They played hard for each other, and they took care of each other.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's amazing, Coach. And we see some people already coming in. Speaking of a ring of football, the great Raymond Phil Jr. saying, "Let's go, Coach." And that's the young one coming in. He's a talent right there. We've got Coach Foss coming in, checking in from Alabama. And then, of course, my mother-in-law always joins the show. She loves football, and she's coming in for Denver. So thanks for checking in, you guys. We got the great Coach Darren Arbet. This is a football legend, especially in the Bay Area. You guys, you can't talk football without talking Coach Arbet. He's got some of the, I think, tied for the most championships of all of these Bay Area coaches. So we love it, Coach, and we thank you for coming on. Q, let me ask you before we dip out of this topic. So obviously quarterback is so huge, and Coach is saying that we wouldn't have won that much without Mark. This is the top quarterbacks in the country for college football this year. Are you telling me you can't win a national championship unless you got one of these gentlemen?
Man, I don't care what organization you look at, man. Should I say winning teams throughout history? It was that trigger man, dude, is everything. It's absolutely everything, man, because it's the type of guy, like Mark, man, like a Joe Montana, where it's, you late in the game, man, you got, 2-3 minutes left, you down by, 8, and you got 90 yards to drive, or even, if you're starting from the 1, in the Arena League, you're like, man, we gotta put this drive together, and this is it. And these guys get it done. And when you're, and when you're in the huddle, when a quarterback like that is like, hey, we about to punch it in, and everybody in that damn huddle believes.
I got goosebumps. Okay.
I'm telling you, man. But that was part of what. But that's the thing about it on the coaching side. With Coach Arbet did, like the other great coaches, like Saban is about they set the tone on the culture, and your trigger man takes it from there on the field. That's the way it works.
Did you feel, Coach, that Mark was an extension of you? Did you feel like he was you on the field?
Interesting story. I felt we were a team. It was a culture there. A guy by the name of Terry Malley. He was the general manager. When I got the team, Mr. Fry said, hey, who do you want as offensive coordinator? There's Terry right there. And I said, I think Mr. Malley, I remember his days at Santa Clara. He was really good there, and went in his office and, talked him into it. He came out there, and I always called him Mr. Malley. Then I got Michael Church, who had been at San Jose State. He had been at Missouri. He had been a lot of places. Those guys have forgot more football than I knew. Bill Tripp, our offensive line coach, he was solid. So Mark, we were an extension of each other. Terry Malley had his part in it. I had my part. Michael Church had his part. Bill Tripp, Grebe, Steve Pappin was great for us. James Hunden, James Rowe, Rashid. We just had a group of guys that just believed in each other. And I always told them, if I didn't have an ego and I'm running around calling offensive coordinator Mr. Malley every day and respecting his knowledge, you guys need to respect each other. And they bought into it. And as Mike Tomlin said, the standard is a standard.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing, Coach. And the standard is a standard. You wonder why some organizations lose. Some college programs are perennial losers and some are winners. It's because of gentlemen like this. So thank you, Coach. Wanted to play for you, but wasn't good enough at the time. They were loaded. I think I worked out for Coach 2-3 times, but always. And that's a perfect example. Always gracious. Even whether you were working out or you were the superstar, he was going to treat you the same way. You're going to teach you the same way. So this is real talk right here. We're on to our next topic, you guys. And if you're joining us for the first time, we got the great Coach Darren Arbet. I'm the host, Coach Wood. That's Q, the guru to the far right. And we've got another topic, you guys. This one is kind of, hot off the presses every year. This is the training camp time, and the NFL guys are in camp. The college guys are strapping it up. Pretty soon, high school is going to be getting after it. Now, back in our day, it was kind of testing the manhood time, the training camp battles. But nowadays, it's a lot more light. So I'll start off with you, Q. Let's say you're the coach at Michigan. How much contact are we going to have in training camp, Coach?
See, that's hard to ask. I probably am not the good guy to ask because, man, I'm old school, man. And the reason I feel like that there needs to be a little bit more full go, maybe not to the extent of our era, but more than what we've seen in the last even decade, is because, and Coach, I'm sure you attest to this, man, you see way too many missed tackles, man, especially on defense. Way too many. And that's one thing there. If you're not practicing that full throttle at some point in like camp and here and there throughout the season, man, that's gonna cost you in the end. You want me to tell you why? Because when you have those important drives and you need a stop on 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4, 4th and 1, those type of situations, and you're arm tackling because, man, that hasn't been automatic, man, with your guys, then it's going to cost you at some point in time, big time.
Coach, talk to me. I mean, obviously, I know when you were in the thick of it with the SaberCats, I remember those practices. It was competitive, So even the two-a-days, they were competitive. So talk to me. If you were coaching the Niners, you're Shanahan right now, how much contact you taking on?
We're not going to the ground. We are going to wear the pads, everything is 2 steps up front, and you
Yeah.
got to throw a move. You got to move your feet. Those are the things I'm looking for. We don't bull rush in practice unless it's in a drill. You can get your technique down there.
Yeah.
No bull rushing up there. No big collisions. At that time when we had the fullback, linebacker, and DBs, we talked about angles and wrapping up.
Mm-hmm.
Angles and wrapping up.
Yes.
But taking people to the ground,
No.
I would kick guys out of practice when they would try to. Well, I'm just trying to show you. Well, you can still show me. I can see if you're in the right place, if your feet are in the right place, if you're bending down to tackle someone, I can see all that, because I couldn't afford to get any of those young men hurt. You know, we had some great teams, 16-1 one year, 20-1 one year. So I would look pretty dumb getting my players hurt in practice.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a great point. Did you ever have a player that you wanted to hold out, but he wanted to go? Did you ever get into a tough situation with that, Coach?
Absolutely. James Hunden, I would hold out. James is going to go 1,000%.
Man.
Every play.
Man.
James Hunden is going to go. Wendell Davis. I don't know if you remember Wendell Davis.
Yep.
We got from the Kansas City Chiefs. from the Cowboys. He was drafted out of Oklahoma. Wendell, if a young man came out there and tried out for the team, Wendell was going to grab you because we pressed everyone. He would grab you and run you into that wall, that hard wall we had out there. You guys remember.
Facts.
And, we would have to hold those guys out sometimes because they only had one speed.
One gear, that was it, dude.
Wow. There you go. There you go right there. So we are on, and that's a memory. Yeah, definitely some names right there. We're on to our next topic, you guys, and thank you for joining us. We have the great Coach Arbet. You had plenty of options, Coach. I know that there were people ringing your phone when you were winning championship after championship. You just said 16-1. That is difficult in any league, even if it's Pop Warner, let alone at the professional level. Kind of the greatest show on turf, Coach. I know you had some opportunities to go to maybe other teams. I know you had some opportunities to maybe go to other leagues. Give me some reasons why you didn't, and maybe give me some advice for someone that's wondering if they should see if the grass is greener somewhere else.
Sometimes it's greener right where you are. I turned some things down. There was a lot of factors. I was a single dad, didn't want to move my son around. That was number one. Number two, Mr. Fry and everyone you showed the play, he took very good care of me. And there was just really no reason to leave except for ego. And I was always a team guy. It was about everyone. I had a great situation going. I would do the SaberCats, and then in the off season, I would do the TV stuff. So I really enjoyed that. And like you touched on earlier, I went to all the NFL camps. I was able to scout around. I had a couple of internships that I was able to get in the NFL. So I went to a camp with a couple of teams and was coaching there through preseason. So I had the best of both worlds, and financially it was good. So I just stayed there.
All right. Cool. What about advice maybe for athletes? Because sometimes, we have the transfer portal nowadays, and these kids can jump from school to school if the sun isn't shining. What's your advice on that maybe for the kids, whether or not they should jump?
It's different for me, and they always tell us we have to adapt to the new environment. But back in our day, if you beat me out, I wasn't going to leave. I might take a redshirt year so I don't lose that year. Whatever it is, I'm going to lift weights. I'm going to work on my feet. I'm going to work on my back pedal. I'm going to work on coming out of my breaks. I'm going to work on my lateral step to come down on those dig routes. Whatever it is, I'm going to get better, and I'm going to take your spot the next year. That's the way I feel. But now young men, if they're not going to start, they just leave. And they go somewhere where I won't say it's not competition, but someone that's going to tell them that they're going to start. And I never told any young men that they were going to start if they came and played for the SaberCats.
Okay, so you guys have to judge that. We can't just paint a brush.
I take that back. One guy, a quarterback at the end, I did. Eric Meyer. He knew he was going to be the quarterback.
Okay. I can appreciate that, Coach. And Coach is always going to keep it 100 with us. That's why he came back right there. So we are on, you guys, to our next section of the show. Really enjoying this one. A ton of value, ton of game for you guys. But guess what? We're not giving Coach no breaks. It's time for the lightning round. It's time for the lightning round where we are about to put always ready when it came to coaching. We're going to see if he's ready tonight with the lightning round. So this is our version, you guys, of word association, where Coach Arbet is going to go through a list of words, either or, people, and he's got to give us the first thing that comes to his mind. So you ready to roll, Coach?
Yeah, I guess.
I know it's the end of the night, so he might be, I don't know if Coach is going to be on his toes, but he probably is, so we ready for him. All right, Coach, so we've got a list, and this can go anywhere, Coach. This can go to food. This can go to entertainment, obviously football, movies. So let your mind go. Let your mind go, Coach. And then you're going to give us the first thing that comes to your mind. Now, here's a tip. Keep it short and sweet. Usually one word, and we got to get on to the next, because we don't just do this for fun, Coach. We actually got a wager on it. So we got a dinner. Dinner on it. So if you can get to 17 or higher in 60 seconds, somebody got to 17, then you get a dinner on the locker room show. Now you get one for tech delay. So even 16, you're in the mix. So I got Coach at 0. We're not coaching. We're not going to cheat, Coach. Even though he didn't pick me up when we worked out for him, we're not going to cheat, Coach. We're going to keep him at 0. And now he's got to get through the list. All right. This is a fan favorite, Coach. You ready to roll?
I think so.
All right. Yeah. All right. Now, once again, 16. He's still in the running. Number one. First thing that comes to your mind, Coach. Edison High School. Go.
Afro.
Bill Walsh.
Mentor.
Favorite movie snack.
Popcorn.
The best player you've ever coached against.
James Barron.
Trip to wine country or trip to the beach?
The beach.
Any given Sunday or the program?
The program.
Coach Terry Malley.
He was everything to the SaberCats. He is the SaberCats to me.
Donuts or bagels? 48 seconds.
Donuts.
Favorite restaurant in Arizona?
Oh, gosh. High Tide.
High Tide. We'll give it to him. And actually, one from my own, tickle my own fancy here. You go on Bill Parcells or Mike Shanahan?
Bill Parcells.
For sure. I could answer that for you. I know what Coach's going to say on that. Come on now.
Actually, one more. This one ain't going to count. We'll give you the last one, the Parcells. But you going Sam Cooke or Marvin Gaye?
Got to go Marvin.
All right. Definitely. So let's add them up. Thank you, Coach. Having a little fun with us. But we've got Edison High School for the first one. That's his old high school. I didn't even know you were from Stockton, Coach. So, Coach, from Stockton? He said afro. He was walking the afro back there. Bill Walsh, the great Bill Walsh, rest in peace. Number 2, he said mentor. Once again, you're talking to somebody that has had a lot of people touch him. Favorite movie snack, popcorn. He's going with that. Best player you ever coached against. He's going James Barron right there. For the number 5, trip to wine country or trip to the beach. Coach says, give me the beach every time. Number 6, he's going with the program over any given Sunday. Number 7, he says with Terry Malley, the heartbeat of the SaberCats, everything to the SaberCats. And shouts out to Coach Malley. He's going with the donut over the bagel for number 8. He's going with High Tide for number 9, favorite AZ restaurant where he currently resides. And then he's going Bill Parcells, you guys, over the Mike Shanahan. So with all of that, he's got 11 with the tech delay, and we appreciate you, Coach, for having a little fun with us right there on the lightning round. So we are on to our last segment of the show. You guys, once again, a legend right here in the coaching world, football. He's taking a break. But we got a Q&A question. If you have something for Coach and you're live with us tonight, feel free to put it in the comments section. But Q, I know you got a great question for Coach.
Yeah, I got a good question, Coach. Out of all the wins, all the rings, all the great players you didn't coach all these years, what do you miss the most?
The locker room, preparing for the game. There's always tell people, there's not a job in America. You can work as hard as you can work, and you can watch that film and you can start calling it out by Friday what that other team's going to do. You're still nervous. And depending on what's on that scoreboard, your mood's going to be one way or the other. I mean, you can't get that at any other job that I know of.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe a lawyer, but I mean, you're talking about one. And Mr. Fry always told me, with players, do you sit them? I got a question for you guys. And he when a player isn't a disciplined player, do you sit him or do you take his money? Now, Mr. Fry would tell you, now you only get 16 shots to get into that tournament. That's it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
What do you do? Are you going to prove a point? Or what is your point? Are you going to hurt the team because he did something stupid? What are you going to do?
Damn.
That's a good question.
And
my first inclination was what you said, don't hurt the team.
Yeah.
So just fine them. But also that can come back to bite you too.
Yeah.
So that's difficult.
And
I guess it depends on the player.
People say if he was a good player, he wouldn't do it. Hey, we're all human,
Yeah.
Now, if they're doing it consistently, I mean, it's
right. Of course.
Easy choice.
Yeah.
Player does something one time, big game. What do you do? Take his money? Take his money or sit him and hurt the team?
I'd have to find him. I'd have to find him because the reason again, like I said, hopefully, like you said, Coach, it's not one of those repeat offense type things, but it's like, and maybe there's a bad example, but that was a dilemma that Coach Parcells was dealing with LT for years.
Right. Exactly.
I'm being real. Like, what do you do? He's the best defensive player ever. We can't sit this dude.
Right.
And it's fine him, dude. Like, we have to have 56
I think
there, man.
Well, and you somehow throughout all the years and the money getting good in the Arena Football League, you were able to keep the culture the same throughout all of those years. But I mean, we're all human beings, and the players on the team know that LT is not built like everybody else, so there is a subjective kind of human side to that decision too. Is like that answer isn't the same for everybody, I guess.
Yeah.
I never had to make those decisions, but it wasn't me keeping that locker room in check. That's one thing.
That's true.
I think from a coaching standpoint, that was Clee Thomas now.
Yeah.
Clee Thomas kept that locker room in check.
I will vouch. Yeah. 8 will get in your ass.
Right. That wasn't me.
Yeah. Yeah.
He felt
Oh, that's a great point.
Yeah.
when playoffs came, he would come to me, and I always like to get him in there at 6 or 6:30 in the morning. We get in there early, and there was some little place that the guys, they were young, they wanted to go to, and he says, "Hey, I told them they're not going to be going out the day before the game." He's talking like this, guys. I told them, but coach, I got to give them a day. I'm gonna give them Thursday. So we started a little later that day. No problem, buddy.
Yeah.
And he would make them work now.
Yeah, Cleve's a regulator, man. But that's what I always scratch my head, man, while I was out there, with y'all. And I'm like, man, Howard, it's maybe like, I think this was like 0203, and this is like, man, like week 2 or 3, and I'm out here and I'm like, how are these like you had a lot of guys on that team, especially at that time, that was, some of the highest paid players in the league, but it was like no egos, man. And I always wonder, like, how could that be? But that's just, I don't know. That was one of the few teams I've ever been on, especially on a professional level, where it just wasn't, I never felt any egos. It was just like, man, we are for one reason, man, period. Like Cleve. I mean, hell, Cleve was one of the top 3, if not but definitely top 3, top 5 defensive players in the league. And he was the leader. It wasn't from arrogance or nothing. I mean, he's outworking everybody, man. But
he's going to NFL training camps.
Yeah. So
at that time.
Man. So it's like, yeah, I don't know. I loved it out there. That's all I could say.
Yeah, I had some guys. Jay Stu was the same. Jason Stewart, George Williams, Chuck Reed. Those guys were leaders, and a lot of people felt those guys control that locker room now.
Yeah.
So if I'm a coach, let's say I'm coaching the Bengals, or I'm coaching maybe a college team, and I've got off the field issues, does that mean I have a leadership issue, or older player issue, coach?
They can fix it because they're going to know about it more than you are. The guy who taught me the game was Keena Turner from the 49ers.
Yeah.
And Ronnie and all those guys used to be around. And I'll tell you, 49ers wouldn't have been the 49ers without those guys. I mean, Ronnie and Keena, and I mean, those guys were leaders, and they were on guys when they didn't practice hard and when they didn't do the right thing. And so Cleve was able to learn from George Atkinson, worked for the SaberCats. Well, we hung out together and coached football. I don't say any of those guys work for me because I don't look at it that way. Jack Tatum was there. George would tell you if he thought you was soft. He would spell it out to you, SOFT, soft. He would tell you were soft, and he would challenge. They were good at challenging each other every day.
Amazing. Yeah, the staff was crazy too. Well, Coach, I know that you had to get away from your Arnold Palmers and your golf, but we appreciate you coming on. I don't know. Are you coming back to the game, or is the retired life too good?
He ain't done. Yeah. The pause was too long.
That's all you need to say.
Yeah, no more. The pause said everything.
Well, hey, we're hoping that comes back. And I know many of you guys watching live and watching the recording of this will be hoping the same thing. So, Coach, we love you. Much continued success, whether you come back or not. And thank you for coming on the show.
I appreciate it. Thank you, guys. I really enjoyed myself.
Okay. All right, you guys. Thanks. So, hey, that is the great Coach Darren Arbet. I mean, come on, Q. Does it get better than that, brother? This was when we were coming up heavy. Yeah. He was the king. He was the Belichick.
He was, man. Nah, man. Like I said, that was a squad out there, man. And he just, man, good dude. Always, like you said, kept it 100 with you. But just a great guy, great coach, man. And again, he established a culture out there with that organization, the same as you see again with with Lou Holtz, how he did it at Notre Dame, how Saban did at Alabama, man. When a great head coach is a good leader of young men and establishes a culture and has the talent and they buy into it, that's the results you're going to get. You're going to get a winning organization or program that wins year in and year out.
So
That's
let me
fact.
ask you this. Which one is the chicken and the egg theory? Is it talent it makes the coach good, or is it the coach elevates the talent?
No, it's the coach, man. It's the coach, because a great coach can take mediocre talent and still win with mediocre talent because these kids buy in.
Okay. All right.
That's why I mean we've seen that at other programs, man. I mean, let's be honest, think about all those years, and no knock, hopefully no Bronco fans, get upset. But Boise State was like that, man, for decades, man. They didn't have all the 4 or 5 star kids, but they were 10-0, 11-0, 11-1, and then when they showed up in the bowl against a top-notch top 10 school and wrecked them too in the bowl. Because they had a great
coach. No big teams wanted to see that.
Like I remember when they ran the Statue of Liberty playing beat Oklahoma in the ball. Like, I mean, but we saw that from Boise State, and that's one of a lot of programs that they just had a good coach, talent was decent, and they went to work because the kids bought in, man.
All right. Well, yeah, and actually I've seen that transformation at my very own high school, where now guys are going to high-level schools. They're winning games, and it was all a seed of a new coach. So, great point right there. So, hey, you guys, hopefully you enjoyed tonight's show. We're rocking and rolling, man. We're getting close to the season. Q, I mean, these guys are in camp, and it's serious now, man.
Yeah, that's why I keep saying, man, it's time to strap it up, man. The game.
It's August next week.
Yeah, it's on now. The only thing, you got to, everyone needs to concentrate on right now is staying healthy. When you get issue your playbooks or whatnot, learn that inside and out. But don't ever be out there on the field worried about making mistakes. If you do, make it 100 miles an hour and play fast, right? Always play fast, but don't worry about making mistakes. Now try to never, not make the same mistake twice, but you can't be out there second guessing yourself, and everything will play itself out.
Yes, indeed. The great Jimmy Rucker says the kids start school in 3 weeks. He's ready for the kids to get back in school.
Yeah.
He said it's enough with the summertime thing. So, hey, you guys, we love you. Thank you for rocking with us tonight. Hey, come back next Thursday because we got another special guest as we move closer to the season. We got them lined up for you, just like Coach Arbet, you guys. So, hey, signing off for the Locker Room Show. I'm Coach Wood. That's Q, the Guru, and we'll see you at the top. Have a good one.